So this headline says Instagram is supposed to be friendly, so why is it making people so miserable? For a growing number of users and mental health experts, the positivity of Instagram is precisely the problem. With its relentless emphasis on promoting perfect lifestyles, should everyone just stop scrolling? When 24-year-old fashion blogger Scarlett Dixon posted a picture of herself having breakfast, the internet turned nasty. The best of days start with a smile and positive thoughts and pancakes and strawberries and bottomless tea, Dixon wrote on her Scarlet London Instagram feed, under an image of her looking flawless on a freshly made bed, flanked with heart shaped helium balloons. The sponsored post for Listerine mouthwash, a bottle of which is visible on the side of the shot, was swiftly reported on Twitter. Fuck off, this is anybody's normal morning, wrote Nathan from Cardiff. Instagram is a ridiculous lie factory made to make us feel inadequate, he posts, which has garnered more than, oh, Jesus Christ, 111,000 likes, 22 times as many as Dixon's original, and almost 25,000 retweets. Promoted a wave of criticism with the moral principle comments ranging from fake life and bunny boiler to let's pop her balloons and who keeps Listerine on their bedside table, serial killers, that's who. That hostility feels par to the course on Twitter. The social network is a notorious hotbed of abusive strangers hurling abuse at other abusive strangers, who then all occasionally come together to bully a celebrity off the internet over some minor failing. Let me say one thing. When I started Twitter, I will say this, the people on Twitter used to interact with you a lot more because when Twitter first started in the first year, people were actually trying to gain followers. Now it just seems that that's gone out the window. But anyway, such as being a woman in a Star Wars film, Instagram, by contrast, looks like the friendliest social network imaginable. It's a visually led community where the primary method of interaction is double tapping an image to like it, where posts that go viral tend to do so because of positivity rather than rather than outrage, and where many of the biggest accounts are famous dogs and cats. What's not to like? But for a growing number of users and mental health experts, the very positivity of Instagram is precisely the problem. The site encourages its users to present an upbeat, attractive image that others may find at best misleading and at worst harmful. If Facebook demonstrates that everybody is boring and Twitter proves that everyone is awful, Instagram makes you worry that everyone is perfect except you. In the days following her initial Instagram post, Dixon pointed out the irony that this fear that the unreality of social media is harming people was itself being used to justify the thousands attacking her. Each time I refresh my page, hundreds of new nasty messages pour onto my Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, some which have contained malicious death threats. Okay, that's not funny. You shouldn't be threatening someone for posting something. That's disgusting. She wrote in a follow up Instagram post accompanying a picture of her in Venice with an ice cream. There are now hundreds and thousands of tweets circling the internet shaming me. My feed isn't a place of reality, Dixon added. I mean, who spends their time in such a beautiful city perched on a ledge, ice cream in hand, and smile permanently affixated to her face? It's staged, guys. So hold on, she's taking a selfie of her in Venice having a good time, eating an ice cream, enjoying themselves, and apparently that's fake. It just goes to show how pathetic some people are. I personally don't think my content is harmful. This is what she said to young girls, but I do agree Instagram can present a false expectation to people to live up to. But whether or not Dixon feed is harmful, there is a growing support for the idea that Instagram isn't great for its users' mental health. In 2017, the Royal Society for Public Health, or the RSPH, an independent charity that seeks to improve people's well-being, conducted a UK-wide survey of 14 to 24-year-olds, asking them about the big five social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, and Instagram. Users ranked how their use of the platform affected everything from the quality of their sleep to their FOMO, the fear of missing out of what others are enjoying. Oh, so I learned a new word, FOMO. Instagram came last, scoring particularly badly for its effects on sleep, body image, and FOMO. Only Snapchat came close in its overall negativity, saved by a more positive effect on real world relationships, while YouTube scored positively on almost every metric except its effect on sleep, for which it was the worst of all platforms. I will say that because if your target audience is in another country, like say Japan or something, and you live in the UK, you will be uploading videos either really late at night or really early in the morning. I use Japan just as an example. There's several other countries that could be your target market. It does take a lot of time and effort into doing YouTube, so you can lose a lot of sleep through it. But anyways, on the face of it, Instagram can look very friendly, says the RSPH name Madade, but that endless scrolling without much interaction doesn't really lead to much of a positive impact on mental health and well-being. You also don't really have control over what you're seeing, and you quite often see images that claim to be showing you reality yet aren't. That's especially damaging to young men and young women. Also, Instagram, I find, is now more so being riddled with promoted posts. By this, I mean posts that have been put up. People have paid for these posts to be put on there, or companies have paid for them to be put on there. So you end up scrolling through a lot of stuff that aren't actually people that follow you. The risk of developing a unhealthy body image is often highlighted by Magdane's emphasis that this is just one aspect. Some people may be looking at feeds full of cars and it's giving them anxiety and depression as they can't afford them. I'll be honest, when I look at Instagram and I look at stuff, I have done YouTube for several years and I've done a lot of filming and producing and music and stuff like that. I know that most things on social media are smoke and mirrors. By that is meaning I don't believe a lot of the things that I see, because a lot of the time people take photos of cars that aren't theirs, and they'll find images of vacations and stuff and say I'm on vacation here and things like that. So don't believe everything you see on the internet. For Stefan, a 24-year-old from London, the unreality led him to develop unhealthy behaviors online. I was going through a bit of a heartbreak at the time, he says, and any experience of seeing my ex's name on Instagram killed me. I was pretty down and found myself predominantly using the Instagram to either punish myself by looking at my ex or using the browse feature to distract me. I found myself looking at attractive women a lot when they'd come up in the browse feed, which would then cause more to be shown. I was getting to the point where I was feeding an unhealthy habit of forming a warped view of women and making myself feel worse. Stefan then took a year-long break from the app, during which he wrote basically an essay on its harmful effects on well-being and body satisfaction. The problem with Instagram is that you almost inexclusively share content that is meant to reflect positively on you, he says. On Twitter or Facebook, you see much more content that isn't, hey, look at my great life. Most At most, every user adds fuel to the flame, even as we're being made miserable by the unreal lives that we follow. We share an unreal version of our own lives. By this, it means like, so essentially, when you're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or whatever social media you might be using, you are presenting the best version of yourself. So don't believe everything that everyone says to you. Don't believe everything that you hear or everything that you may see, because 9 times out of 10 on the internet, people are only letting you see what they want you to see. They're not showing you them true selves and who they are in real life. And if they did, they probably would lose a lot of their following. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So I have been on Instagram since 2013, and in the beginning I enjoyed it, says Anan, a 25-year-old Syrian who lives in Cape Town. But as the years passed, it's changed from being a friendly environment where most people posted food pictures into a competitive social platform where everyone filters out their lives to represent a life that does not exist. Nobody looks good all the time. Nobody is always happy. When things get tough, I get really upset when I see other people having the perfect life, and yet Anand says I am also guilty of trying to show the best side of my life to people. But Instagram has always been about looking flawless. What has changed to spark such a backlash? Among users I spoke to, one event was cited time and time again: the introduction in mid 2016 of Instagram's algorithm timeline. It was one of the largest changes to the platform since it was brought by Facebook in 2012. Rather than presenting users with a cross section of what the people were following were up to at any given moment, Instagram began populating feeds with the most noteworthy posts from those accounts, often reaching back days or even weeks to pull in particular compelling content. So essentially, they're letting you see what they think is the best images for you. In effect, the service began promoting a curated, unrealistic version of an already curated, unrealistic feed. Taylor Stone, a parenting blogger at Motherhood The Real Deal, went cool on Instagram shortly afterwards. For a long time, Instagram was one of the only places where the interaction felt real, she says. Then the algorithm came along and blew that out of the water. The whole point of these social platforms is that they are supposed to enhance social connectivity, yet bizarrely, they are based upon algorithms that seem to be working against their very notion. Victoria who runs the lifestyle blog The Lust List, says there is another issue affecting pro Instagram users, those who make a living or hope to for advertising and sponsorship. The new algorithm creates a popularity contest between creators so that they resort to unethical business decisions in order to keep themselves at the top of the food chain, i.e., doing shout outs, giveaways, live streams, and stuff like that. A lot of Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and all that has basically resorted to people doing shout outs, giveaways, and like incentives to follow. That's not the way to go about it, because you're going to get a load of followers that are only going to want to be part of your community because you're essentially having to do something extra to keep them. That's not the purpose of Instagram. So, anyway, creators started buying followers. That's something that Instagram did crack down on as well. Likes and comments in an attempt to fool the algorithm. As Instagram clamped down on that, Hugh says those users formed secret compliment pods, conspiring to share each and every post with each other in order to generate authentic and immediate engagement. So basically, fake views, fake likes, fake comments, which influencers such as Dixon often get the lion's share of the blame for the epidemic of unreality on Instagram. It's just a prevalent at the grassroots as it is among the Insta celebrities. I stopped using the app earlier this year when I realized that I reliably felt worse after opening it than I did before I started. But my Instagram, a locked account with just a couple of hundred followers and posts, is almost exclusively for keeping in touch with people I got to know in other ways. Before I decided to link my Instagram account to my YouTube account, I had my Instagram listed as private. This was a lot better for the simple fact of I never got any random followers because I would have to accept them followers. People couldn't see my posts unless I let them see my posts. So if you want to kind of like trim through the fat, having your account listed as private is a good way of doing that. The closest I get to following influencers is the pop star Carly Rae Jep Jepsen. I'm really sorry if I butchered your name, and an Instagram famous husky. Still, every time I open the app, I'm presented with an endless feed of my friends and family doing incredible things, having a wonderful time without me. There's the friend whose wedding I wasn't invited to. I found out about it through the app. There's the friend who is looking fantastic after every workout and lets us all know. There's the friend who lives in New York, apparently over in London for a few weeks without telling me. Meanwhile, I'm doing nothing of note. So, one thing I will say, guys, do not compare yourself to anyone else on social media. Stay in your lane. When you stay in your lane and you don't look at other people's content or whatever they decide to put up, you will feel so much better about yourself. This is the problem I would say with Instagram. Before I read any more into this is the big problem I would say with social media in general. People think it's a competition and think that they're competing. When you do that, you have literally lost because you've given up on it being your Instagram or your Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, whatever, and you've decided to try and compete against someone else because you want more than what they've got. This is never a good plan because if it goes wrong, people will see the big massive change in what you've done. Hence why I don't compete or anything like that. I just stay in my lane and do what I'm doing. But anyways, back to the story. So, meanwhile, I'm doing nothing of note except sitting on Instagram. At least I don't suffer the same from the adverts because of a glitch in my privacy settings. Instagram believes I am a Bangkok teenager and serves me nothing but adverts written in Thai for acne cures and KFC. This is not a joke. When I tell friends about my dissatisfaction with the app, their responses are mixed. Some cite controversial wisdom, tell me to unfollow the influencers with a commercial in I can't even read that word to sell me a perfect life. So basically, unfollow people, big accounts, and devote the app to keeping up with friends I care about. Rob, for instance, follows fewer than 100 people, all family and friends. But I don't follow any influencers, and the friends I care about most are the ones most likely to create that familiar pang of FOMO. Others offer exactly the opposite advice, arguing that my problem is not following enough influencers. I should focus less on using Instagram to find out what people and I care about are doing and more on using it as a source of information and inspiration. One friend, Lindsay, cites Present and Correct, which sells exquisitely designed office supplies, as her go to happy place. Another, Mary, recommends her personal mix of roughly one third friends and one third MPs and one third drag queens. It's true that there is a whole world of information best communicated in a visual medium. While most fitness focused Instagram leave you feeling like a fat blob of plasticine, others are sources of useful advice, laser targeted at people in your situation. But I've tried that version of Instagram too, and I worry that it provides only a veneer of engagement while forever hoovering on the precise and possibly perfect breakfast eaten by impossibly perfect people. Even Facebook Instagram owners warn against using its product in this way. In general, the company wrote on its corporate blog last year, when people spend a lot of time passively consuming information, reading but not interacting with people, they report feeling worse afterwards. Of course, Facebook answer was that everyone should post more, but it would say, wouldn't it? Another option is to follow the guidance of the RSPH as part of Scroll Free September. The charity is encouraging users to aim for anything between complete cold turkey and simply stopping at a certain time, such as in the bedroom or during meal times. There's only one final possibility proposed by a few others when I shared my own Instagram woes. Don't give up on Instagram, just give up on people. Do you know what? 100%. 100% I agree with that. At the end of the day, only follow people that you are generally interested in following. Don't have your timeline full of shit, because at the end of the day, there's nothing worse than scrolling through a load of crap that you essentially don't want to fucking read, because it's people either trying to promote their business, promote their account, or make themselves bigger, or promoted tweets, promote whatever it may be, not just Instagram, anything at all. If you find that you've just come to the point that you just don't want to see someone's tweets anymore, or you just can't be bothered to look at their photos anymore, just delete them, because it's just easier to continue doing what you're doing. There's nothing worse than having someone that's in your way. It's just easier to just get rid of them and carry on in what you're doing. Anyways, there are enough dogs, cats, birds, otters, and ferrets to fill a social network of their own. From Jiro the otter to Gotcha the cockatoo, and it's very hard to scroll through the pet Instagram and feel bad about yourself. Though you may start wishing for a more photogenic Labradoodle. For more information and advice on this issue with social media, go to rsph.org.uk. So, guys, do you agree with this? I do, and I don't agree with this. I agree that all social medias should be it's like with everything, it should be used in, moderation. Do it for as long as you feel like doing it. Don't try and compete. Just continue doing what you're doing. Don't look at other people's posts if you don't want to look at other people's posts, and only follow people that you want to be informed of what they're doing. When you get to the point when you've got thousands and thousands of subscribers or followers or whatever it is, it will become very mundane, because you'll just see the same stuff continuously. um if you want to grow like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and all that stuff naturally, just do it the authentic way by doing giveaways and shout outs and shit like that. It doesn't last forever, and you're going to create an audience of people who are going to expect that of you every single day. I've seen it before with other Instagram accounts where people have done giveaways and stuff like that. And as soon as they get the giveaway, they just get the stuff and don't stay following them. Another way, if you want to keep like Instagram followers and stuff like that, interact with your audience, post stuff up that you think is influential or positive. It's your Instagram. You don't have to necessarily post positive posts, but at the end of the day, you're more likely to attract more of a positive mindset of people if you post something positive. And one thing I would say as well, don't put a billion filters on something trying to look perfect. Like, we're all human. None of us are flawless. We all have flaws in our own ways. And at the end of the day, I think why so many people get annoyed with not just Instagram, but like all other social medias when people do stuff like this, is just because of the simple fact of, um, unfortunately, nowadays with the internet, a lot of people are able to be trolls and a lot of people are able to hate. So, because of this reason, you're always going to get people hating on you. But my biggest piece of advice, and I says this to every single person, is if people are hating on you, generally it's because you're doing something right. But at the same time, don't let the hate get to you. Always be able to cut off. Like, I'm quite lucky because I have quite a few friends in real life that I can just go to and speak to and stuff like that. And Instagram for me has never really been something I've done too much. I've kind of picked it up more so like the last 6, 7 months. But I'll be honest with you, I've never really tried to grow my Instagram like ridiculously big or anything like that, because it doesn't like really mean a lot to me. It's just an Instagram account. YouTube is more so something I've been trying to grow, but I do it authentically. I just upload videos and continue doing that. I don't try and do clickbait sort of content. I have been doing news recently, but the thing is, if you have been watching my vlogs, I've always been into tech, I've always been into news, and I like presenting things and making videos like this for you guys. So if you like this video, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I will continue to make content like this. Thank you for watching another episode of G&G News. I will see you all soon. This article was very informative, so big shout out to The Guardian. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications if you haven't done already, smash the like button if you think that this deserves a like, share it with your friends if you want other people to see it, and leave me a comment if there's anything I can improve on. See you soon, guys.